everybody, it's Uyak here. Made in Abyss Season 2 Episode 1 came out yesterday, and let me just say right now, the season is off to an absolutely amazing start. But before we get into that, if you do enjoy the video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe for similar anime content in the future. Let's get straight into it. Now, let me start off this by saying that I think episode 1 was off to a great start, regardless of what anybody else thinks, okay? Because I know the series opened up with this very disgusting scene, which I haven't even checked yet, but I can imagine it's going crazy on the degenerate space of Reddit, as well as other internet forum places, I'm assuming. But it's important to note here that to really build a character backstory and to really make the audience feel like they're connected to a certain character, you need to show the terrible things that happen to him. Because if you just censor all of it, we don't really care as an audience because we're not really seeing it, okay? So the episode 1 starts off with a character named Vueko, who is a female that was getting sexually abused by a very disgusting man. Let's just say that. But as I'm sure all of you are reviewing it, as I was watching the scene, I was deeply disgusted. In fact, I wanted to put my hands on this man. I wanted to physically harm this man in the show. And this builds character because I felt sympathy for Vueko and I felt anger towards this other character. And this is what really builds out characters, in my opinion. But away from that, the series continues on, or the episode continues on rather, and we're basically introduced to this prehistoric group of explorers that are looking for the golden city in the abyss. Their main goal is to find this golden city of the abyss, which is based off of, in a beginning scene, this older man and this group of expedition group of people who were slaughtered and stuff. They had one treasure left, and it said, "This compass points to the golden city." And that is what motivated this group of rejects, so to speak. They're rejected from their country. This was mentioned. But the group is setting out to do this. And throughout the journey, every single ship but theirs got destroyed on the way to the Made in Abyss island. And then they get to the island and they meet this group of natives. But before we get into that, let me point out one big pitfall of this new season, okay? And it's probably the only big pitfall. Okay, this series, season 2, Made in Abyss, and season 1 are both on high dive. If you really want your anime to take off, it's not going to take off on a platform like High Dive, let's be honest here. It's going to take off on a platform like Crunchyroll, Netflix, not even Amazon Prime, because I made a video on Vinland Saga if you want to check it out in the top right. But it's on Amazon Prime, and that's why I think it's underrated, okay? You see a lot of people talking about Jujutsu Kaisen, all these other series. I understand they're different concept, whatever you want to say, whatever way you want to rationalize it being better, okay? But it's more popular because it's on a more widespread and popular platform. That has a lot to do with it. So that is what I think is one of the biggest pitfalls of this new season, is the fact it's not widespread. It's only on High Dive as far as I'm aware. But getting back into the story, this prehistoric group of adventurers, explorers, way before Rico and Reg's time, they arrive on this Made in Abyss island and they meet a bunch of natives. Now, I'm going to skip ahead a bit, and they basically get these natives to grant them entry essentially into the abyss in exchange for giving that treasure that points to the golden city. Now, as they're about to descend on their journey into the abyss, this character named Urumi, excuse my pronunciation, was tugging on our main character Vueko, who was the one who got abused, by the way. And she was tugging on to Vueko, saying a bunch of things in her native language. And then the translator, who understood the native language, Balaf, I believe, said that there was a tattoo on her back that basically read that she was infertile. Now, let me just say this, okay? If the Redditors had a hard time with that first scene, they're going to have a hard time with this scene, because this scene was very disgusting to me. I could not believe that this native tribe, and keep in mind, this girl is a toddler. She's probably like 4 or 5 years old or something crazy. I mean, this is disgusting. I'm not going to sit here and Lottie right now. This is disgusting. And our character Vueko takes pity to this character, of course, because she was sexually abused when she was little as well. So she had sympathy, empathy, and I think anybody will, to be honest. But she had more so because she experienced it. And they basically accepted her into her group as a guide. Now, this is the beginning of the horrors of this season. If you thought this was the worst thing that's going to happen in the season, let me tell you now. In classic Made in Abyss fashion, it only gets worse and worse. Child experimentation, whatever you want it, whatever disgusting thing you got in mind, it happens in Made in Abyss, and it's time to deal with it, okay? And this is why I think the series is so great. They're not afraid to show something that needs to be shown in order to make the series great. Now in a modern day anime, too commonly you'll see like all the graphic things blurred out or censored. That's not what we need to be do. Great stories are made from great experiences, okay? And great experiences, bad experiences, all of these need to be shown to build up the highs and the lows of this series. And I think episode 1 did it absolutely perfectly, especially with the transition in the 5th layer from the prehistoric group of explorers to Riko, Reg, and Nanachi. We're introduced back to our trio of characters here, and we can't forget Prushka. And the transition was perfect. We get this scene where it's very realistic. I love things like this where it's so realistic. Like, you imagine this whole time they're descending in the abyss, but they're not taking bathroom breaks, and they're not, and Riko has to use the bathroom in this dome or dome that descends further into the abyss to the 6th layer. She has to use the bathroom, and I can't believe they did what they did with the anime, but they literally showed her crouching over a hole in the middle of this dome and making pooping noises. It was frankly amazing. Everything in the series is amazing. But episode 1 started off with this great base. Just from watching episode 1, we know they're not going to hold off on these things that make the series great, okay? In Made in Abyss fashion, this is going to be great. The music matches up with every single scene. The characters are so well illustrated with meticulous fashion. This series, episode 1 so far, is absolutely amazing, okay? But for the rest of the episode, we basically just descend in this dome, and we get at the end of the episode, we get a flashback to this previous group's first impression of the city and how beautiful it looked. But let me know in the comments below what you thought of the beginning scene in Made in Abyss, what you thought about them saying that a literal toddler is infertile and kicked out of their clan for not being able to bear children at such a young age. Let me know in the comments what you think below. And if you enjoyed the video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe for similar content. I will see you in the next video.